So, without any further ado, here's Dave Madden.
Well, thank you very much, Sammy. Only I wish you'd have said something about my being a soul cousin, at least. I feel a little like the only one on the show with a natural lack of rhythm. Oh, well, very nice to be here. This is kind of a return engagement for me at the Hollywood Palace. I was here this afternoon for rehearsals. Well, actually, I wasn't supposed to be here at all tonight. They had hired sort of an exotic-looking belly dancer supposed to jump out of a big 9-layer pineapple upside-down cake and frolic around for you barefoot. However, when they took the cake out of the oven this afternoon, the dancer didn't look too good. It's too bad, really. He was a rather unusual belly dancer. Danced on other people's bellies. Hey, I'm here as a replacement because the show must go on. I don't know why. That's just an old show business saying that the Nielsen ratings proved was a lie. Actually, I've never gone along with old sayings. I was raised on them. My parents had an old saying cover every situation. It used to drive me nuts. Like when I was a kid, I'd be sitting at the dinner table eating my curds and whey, and my folks would say things, see if you remember this, they'd say things like, now eat everything on your plate, David, because there are people in Europe starving. Remember that? Yeah. So I would stuff myself with food, And when I finished, I found out that the people in Europe were still starving. They hadn't gained an ounce. Now, you should have seen me. 12 years old, weighed 300 pounds. All because of that dumb old saying. And then I became a teenager. And one day my mother took me aside. Which struck me as odd because there wasn't anybody around at the time. But that was my mother. She read somewhere that you tell your kids something, you take them aside. That's what she'd do. I could be standing in the middle of an empty room. She'd take me over in a corner, tell me something. She took me aside. She told me in strictest confidence that a stitch in time saves 9. Well, that's 9 to 1 odds. Who uses that? I tried it 4 times. Worked, too. Ended up with 36 stitches. And my father would say things to me like, as ye sow, so shall ye reap. So I'd go out and sow. Then I'd get arrested for reap. Usually pick up a few more stitches along the way. Now, even today, I get caught up in these cliche traps. Like yesterday, I drove past a church, and next door was a laundromat, and there's a sign in the window, and it said, cleanliness is next to godliness. And I said, that makes sense. If you want to be next to godly, you got to be cleanly, right? Can't be dirtly. No. So, anyway, I gathered up my stretch socks, threw them in one of the washing machines. I don't know what went wrong, but I now own 12 pairs of pantyhose. And then this morning I was listening to the radio, and disc jockey said, why don't you start off each day with a smile? And I figured, why not? Anything to get it over with. So I left the house with a big smile on my face. Some guy walked up, printed a 3 on my front tooth. You can see how eventually you become disillusioned with old sayings. I used to protest against them in weird ways. Like, I'd go out at night, steal old dogs, take them home, teach them new tricks. I did that. Occasionally I'd hang around lending libraries, and when nobody was looking, I'd judge a book by its cover. I'd run. They never caught me. Or sometimes I'd sneak up behind people and leap before I looked. Don't ever do that. Makes them vicious. And sometimes I'd take some horses out in the middle of a stream, change them. Messy. Once I went out, whacked off a sow's ear, took it home, made a silk purse out of it. Gave it to a Jewish girl. Ever do that? Yeah. Well, the point is that these days there seems to be a great need for some new old sayings. I have a few that I would like to interject for posterity. How about, eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow you may live in beautiful downtown Burbank. Better to have loved and lost than have to pay child support. You can fool all of the people some of the time, and you can fool some of the people all of the time, but Spiro Agnew can't. Ask not for whom the bell tolls, lest you be charged person-to-person rates. And in closing, let me leave you with this one final little thought.